This Hillary Clinton and the Clinton campaign stuff has been going on forever. Michael Sussman, and so I guess he's finally on trial. You don't see too much coverage of this, but I guess there's some.
It's all Fox News.
I guess this is a Fox News thing. Huh? That's
request for a mistrial from former Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman. Now, he's on trial as part of the special counsel John Durham's investigation into the origins of the Russia investigation. Kash Patel is a former...
This is not one of those trials we get to watch unfold and see how it happens. This is one of those trials that we have to look at drawings of.
This isn't Johnny Depp. It's not a celebrity.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's a celebrity. I mean, like, what's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell. That we had to look at drawings of that, too.
Yeah.
It's just that I have a feeling that there's some other criteria, right? That they go, this is something we don't want you to exactly see.
Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, also a former federal prosecutor. So you know this story very well. Tell me about what happened today, because the defense tried to ask for a mistrial. I don't know what the grounds are for a mistrial. Is that just normal course of a defense strategy, or do they see problems ahead with their strategy?
I think it's both. So look, as a former public defender and federal prosecutor, I tried 60 jury trials to verdict. And you lay a record, so you always ask for a mistrial when you think there's an issue for appeals. But the shocking part about this was they, the defense, on behalf of Michael Sussman, asked for a mistrial when Mark Elias, the head of the DNC law firm that was hired by the Clinton campaign, basically testified that not only did he hire Fusion GPS to do the opposition research on Steele, his partner was the defendant, and they were working for the Hillary Clinton campaign. And so this is why the defense is in sort of on thin ice, because they're like, wait a second, our entire...
Sussman. He's guilty as fuck.
Sussman,
he's guilty as fuck.
Of course he's guilty. But I mean, like, who's this other guy they're talking about?
The DNC attorney?
Their platform has been, he did
I know who Sussman is.
They, the defense, on behalf of Michael Sussman, asked for a mistrial when Mark Elias, the head of the DNC law firm that was hired by the Clinton campaign, basically testified that not only did he hire Fusion GPS to do the opposition research on Steele, his partner was the defendant, and they were working for the Hillary Clinton campaign. And so this is why the defense is in sort of on thin ice, because they're like, wait a second, our entire platform has been, he did not go to the FBI on behalf of any campaign.
Correct. So here's what Mark Elias said.
They created the information
who I represent,
that they were presenting.
But you're telling me the FBI is doing what the DNC tells them to do? I'm shocked.
It would appear so.
More people to know about it than have to know about it. And then you have Sussman saying, well, you know, look, I tend to not want more people to know about it than have to.
Given who I represent, I tend to not want more people to know about it than I have to know about it.
And then you have Sussman saying, well, you know, look, I did work for the Clinton campaign, of course, but when I went to the FBI, it was totally separate. Here's a text message that he sent to the general counsel of the FBI. It says, Jim, it's Michael Sussman. I have something time sensitive and sensitive I need to discuss. Do you have availability for a short meeting tomorrow? I'm coming on my own, not on behalf of a client or company. Want to help the Bureau. Thanks. How'd that go over?
Not well. That text message was sent one day before the meeting actually took place between Sussman and Baker. And the kicker is that what most Americans don't realize is the testimony of the defense witnesses and Elias and Sussman are locked in. I interrogated them under oath 4 years ago when I led the Russiagate investigation. John Durham is using those interrogations, the deposition transcripts, in court. So that's why Mark Elias can't run away from the truth, and that's why Michael Sussman is boxed in. John Durham, has entered those exhibits into court and said, if you lie, we're going to impeach you with this.
I read Andy McCarthy's piece today in the New York Post as well. It says the headline, I think, is just a reminder of, you know, we're talking about Sussman, we're talking about Baker, we're talking about Elias, but Hillary Clinton is the head of the campaign. And the headline for Andy McCarthy's piece is Clinton lawyers' ridiculous defense and Trump frame-up. And she really has never had to answer any questions about this. You know, she rolls her eyes, she says it's ridiculous. But at this point, when I read these things, I'm like, well, isn't it kind of obvious?
Yeah, and let's just step back a little bit. You know politics better than anyone, Dana. How can the head of the campaign who's running the ticket spend $10 to $50 million funding this disinformation campaign, not possibly know about it? And who's on the stand tomorrow? Robbie Mook, the defense, the Hillary Clinton campaign head. And who's after that? Podesta and possibly Jake Sullivan. These are people that ran her campaign. They're testifying in this trial because they knew where the money was going. And now she's going to come in and say, I still had no idea. I was spending $50 to $100 million of our campaign funds on
Well, I mean, they can say, "Hey, our boss," or they can say, "Hey, I want to keep living." You know.
Yeah, yeah. They'll get a gunshot to the back of the head, suicide. No problem.
Oppo research that was fake. It's a tough sell, but you're right. No one's asking her the hard question.
Sussman, apparently his lawyers today said they don't know if they'll ask him to take the stand. That's typical in a defense trial?
That's typical, and it's highly unlikely that Sussman takes the stand on this one. He would get crushed on
Yeah,
cross-examination.
there's no way.
All right, well, this is super interesting. Also, just hold this up for everybody.
Yeah.
This is his new book. It's called The Plot Against the King. It's a children's book about this whole thing, and it's, I have to tell you,
About
it's
this
so
whole
great.
thing.
It's
The
great.
kids are going to read about the
Order it on
Sussman
the Plot
trial.
Against the King.
That's
Well, hey,
pretty cool.
dude,
I really
that's
like
right
it.
there.
You
That
come
seems
in
like a
because,
sound purchase for
That
you and your
sounds
family,
awesome.
right?
Yeah.
Experience as a former prosecutor and
Love
public
children's
defender,
books.
as you mentioned,
Yeah.
and having been at the
I mean,
Justice
you know,
Department and having known
why-
what was going
Good
on
ones.
within the White House.
There aren't
as
any.
they tried
There
to defend
aren't any
themselves
good
against
ones.
these
We've
attacks.
reviewed this in
Super
past
Thanks for
episodes
having me. I love being
where they're
here.
all about trans and BIPOC, and there are no good just. Hey, there's a teddy bear going through a forest learning how to count numbers anymore. It's all there's a tranny teddy bear
Bring in Tammy
going
Bruce,
through the
Fox News
forest.
contributor and former
Excuse me,
Democrat, to
sorry.
react to Tuesday's
Well, it
primaries
seems
and
like,
Trump endorsements. 70.
Oh, well, this is interesting. We can move on to that in just one moment, I guess.
Yeah.
But what do you think? I mean, like, nothing's going to happen. Is what I feel very like sort of hopeless about that because she's. Is there anything to this that you really haven't known on at least an intuitive level from the
Yeah.
beginning? There's really nothing new here.
You have to really have your blinders on to not know this really happened, that Hillary Clinton was part of it. You really have to be like a party loyalist, liberal hack. I mean, I
Even they must know. I mean, like, it's just like, so you have to be like
they
really
know
like,
but
well,
deny it.
or, you know, I guess they have their ways of sort of working around it in their mind and stuff. You know,
Yeah,
like
cognitive dissonance.
well, she doesn't manage every detail of the campaign.
Yeah.
But I don't really care if it's particularly her. Just so long as her entire campaign is disgraced, I'm fine with that. If these guys actually go to jail, I'd be fine with that. Why not? I mean,
Well-
like, you know, it would just be something. I mean, I think there wasn't there one guy convicted or a conviction or two, and a guy loses his job at the FBI. It's like it's like that with the upper echelons, isn't it?
Yeah.
They lose a position or something.
Yeah, they get fired, and then they could work for some charity where they get paid $500,000 a year.
Well, go on
And
CNN
then
or
go-
MSNBC
yeah.
or anything. Yeah, they
Yeah,
do all that
screw
stuff. McCabe was who it was.
Well, I think they're going to try to damage control this as much as they can because Hillary Clinton, 2024 is coming up. Joe Biden might not run. Who better than Hillary Clinton to save the day? First female president. It's going to happen.
Are you kidding?
It could happen. I
You think
wouldn't put it past them.
You really think that they would? Really?
She still has a lot of power in the party. Who are they going to run?
that's-
Bernie Sanders? Like
Well, yeah, she's got a lot of power in the party.
they can't
but
run
I mean,
Obama for a
She's
third
hardly
term.
a fresh face.
They might do Michelle.
Not that Biden is.
Yeah.
They can't do Michelle,
I said they can do Michelle Obama.
which would be just, you know, yeah, wink, wink. Michelle's the president.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it'll be Obama's fourth term.
Yeah, yeah. He's already got a third, and it's really, it's an insult to everybody, really, in a way. You know, it's just like, well, I can't run again, but I can still run things. How does Obama have so much? He was raised to do
Yeah. He was like a Manchurian candidate,
this,
right?
grown in a lab or
Yeah,
something, pretty much.
in a lab. You know, he learned
He's
early
like
on.
COVID in convenient human form. Human
He's a
COVID
virus.
is exactly what he is.
Human COVID. Barack Obama is human COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, it's you know, look, they're both full of shit. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like neither one of them are. They're both more dangerous than they appear, but for reasons other than what you suspect.
Yes.
COVID's not going to kill you just by being COVID. It's going to kill you by making you show papers everywhere,
Right.
And globalizing
Shelter
everything.
in place and vaccines and
Yeah, and now the WHO, you know, there's going to be like, supposedly what's happening at the end of May is that there's this big meeting,
Right.
and Joe Biden signs away the United States' autonomy, and we become part of a global health, I don't know, collection of nations that are all going to do what the WHO tells us. You've
Yes.
heard about this.
It's the further encroachment of the globo homo, the eventual all-enveloping.
Does this have to do with homosexuality when you say that? It seems like you feel
well,
it does.
It's because
Globo
it's
homo.
because they push the gay agenda, the trans agenda. So it's all one thing. It's gay. We don't like it.
But we're not really talking in terms of the gayness
No.
now. So I thought you might have
That's just
meant
one aspect.
homogeneousness or homogeneity or something
Yeah,
like
you
that,
could-
like all one thing. you
One
know,
government,
Like
yeah.
Look, nationalities used to be a beautiful thing. I like nationalities. It's funny
Sure.
how they nobody is bigger on not judging people on their nationality and stuff. Allegedly, than the left, and yet they're the ones who want to destroy all that stuff.
nationality.
Get rid of all that shit. You know what I mean? Like
You can't be Norwegian.
We have to all be the same.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Western democracies are different from, like, say, Muslims
Angola.
from Indonesia
Yeah.
or wherever the fuck. Excuse me. I mean, they want to be able to, their culture exports really well, and we should accept it. But ours,
Sure.
if we do that, it's like cultural colonialism or something. It's the double standards and the different ways it works are really not all that hard to understand. I mean, if it's and it does come down to if it's us, it's bad, and if it's somebody other, it's fine.
Palestine
This
has
is
borders. Palestine has borders, but Sweden, not so much.
fine. Ukraine has borders. The United
no.
States, not really.
Mexico, flood the country with fentanyl all you want. Have at it.
Yeah, because it seems to be the overall agenda is to weaken the United States of
Yeah.
America, make it a second-rate sort of a place.
China ships the fentanyl to Mexico. Mexico transports it into the United States. Americans die and get weakened.
Well, they take it. They some of them get knelt on, and it helps.
Yeah. Can't breathe. Hey, happens.
George Floyd.
George
The
Floyd.
George Floyd story. We have Buffalo, which is possibly, I thought they were trying to leverage that into the new flawed. But they're not really able to do that, are they? Because it's a bunch of nameless, faceless people. Although,
Yeah,
when
nothing
you
was
re-
caught on really camera, right?
Well, when you read the reports, and when you and of course the whole thing, I suspect of just being a total op anyway. But I mean,
Yeah.
things like this are always like, well, I strongly suspect it. It's a real feeling that I have, but I can't prove it. And it's just there's stuff that I see that maybe should be proof, but is it my head or is it my head that I don't feel like would in the face of everything they're telling us, I go, do I just doubt it because of that? What is it?
The FBI is involved. I mean, there have been many reports in the past of parents complaining about the FBI talking to their schizophrenic, mentally ill son. For who knows? Like, why are the FBI talking to all these 18-year-old white guys who are schizophrenic?
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, Gretchen Whitmer was proven to be a lie and an entrapment.
Totally. Her kidnapping, you mean?
Yeah, her kidnapping. Yeah, her kidnapping was an entrapment.
Yeah.
So this just goes FBI fucking with mentally ill white kids, getting them to do stuff so they can push their agenda.
Yeah. And do they actually do a shooting?
I mean, if
Or
it
do they
benefits the left, have at it, right?
Because the thing that's uniform about it is we watch George Floyd sit there and die.
Yes.
But this, they don't show all the bodies and all the people being shot 24/7. The video's not that easy to find, and it's glitchy in all the weirdest places.
Of course it is.
And it seems kind of phony. So I go, well, it seems like if it was real, they'd be just like with Parkland, or not Parkland, but Sandy Hook, that they'd be, it's not like I'm begging to see, 26 little bodies or something.
Sure.
However, why not? We need images to make it seem real. It doesn't seem real.
I don't believe my government. I don't believe them when they tell me good things. I don't believe them when they tell me bad things. So,
Yeah, makes sense.
fuck, right?
You can't believe them, and you can't prove them wrong.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
part that not with the media being what it is. If Woodward and Bernstein were ever good, which I don't think they were. I have my own theories about that. I guess we'll have to talk about that another time. But basically, I'll sum it up quick. I think Nixon was just 1960s and 70s Trump. You know, they wanted him out of office. So you can't tell me the CIA is going to bungle something and get caught doing something by some security guard.
Yeah, just
and
a
be
really
like, well, we got to give it up. Oh, the security guard caught us.
the vigilant security guard.
Give me a break. They're the CIA. They kill a guy.
Yeah.
They just say, well, we had to kill one. He was collateral damage. And if they want files or if they want to pick up the recording equipment or whatever it is they're going to do, why not just infiltrate the place? You need a whole gang of people to do that?
Yeah. They've toppled democracies and countries' leaderships all over the world with a handful of people.
Yeah.
But this, they can't
They
pull
did
off.
11 guys
11
or something,
guys, yeah.
plumbers who were just like the Keystone burglars.
Keystone
You know,
burglars.
yeah, bumping into each other and hey,
The mask
can't switch
on.
with- yeah, and then the lights come on, and it's the security guard, and they go, well, I'm in the CIA. Here's my information. I just don't buy that. So I think that
bullshit.
Watergate was just set up to give Nixon something
Yes.
to have to lie about, and then that could take him out. Right?
And that's what they did.
Why? I mean, right?
He stopped Vietnam.
It's the CIA. All right. I mean, what do I know?